Amanda! Eta Mbogoto Eta! Eta Women's League Eta! Eta ANC Youth League Eta! Eta Sanko Eta! Eta MKVA Eta! Eta Veterans Eta! Amanda! Kina Jacob Zuma mtanganyelwa kina! Kina Jacob Zuma mtanganyelwa kina! Eta Kuzeni Eta! Eta Kuzeni Eta! Amanda! Amanda! Abamyege Zuma abamyege! Abamyege umsholoza abamyege! Skatene amatala skatene! Panzi nenkantolo panzi! Panzi nalamo PNC panzi! Amanda! Amanda! Ay matawali sazoshu! Usazoshu! Usazoshu! Eta Free State Eta! Eta Free State Eta! Uyabona ukuthi siphelele so. Eta PLF Eta! Eta PLF Eta! Bathi umhlaba kuqala kithi. Eta Gauteng Eta! Eta Gauteng Eta! Ukhona nengambisa. Ukhona lesingambisa. Eta Northwest Eta! Aphelele wonke ama-province eSouth Africa. Eta Eastern Cape Eta! Bengijaniko kanti la. Okay. No khombisa wengishaye ingoma eyodwa. Awubathi Limpopo Eta! Slobo Eta, Slobo Eta! Ngifuna balungile ngemota awusushaya ngiyakha kumane musekhuluma nje kwaye musuku kumane musekhuluma nje kwaye muyajoyina awusushaya ngemota awusushaya ngephephi awusushaya ngemota awusushaya ngephephi Okay, now kukhona usisi olahleli ID yakhe ngabo 3 exen asanga bonana naye sicela bonana nalomfowethu lo uma ngabe usekhumbulile ukuthi yena lahle ID bese kuba ukuthi okwesibili extender besiya emashini kuthathwe iCD yama comrades yafakwa emotweni ebikade ihamba nemarch so ama comrades azoperforma ngayo.
Hi Pax. Pagamile. Parks. Marika. What thula manje? Thula manje angisezwe. Yeah. Hello. Pax. Angazi wena phela othe uright la. Doesn't matter, it's fine. Bengibuza uthi right yini? Hi. Hello. Yes. Oh, Nkosentsha Shezi. I SMS to Khosi. Okay, I SMS to the name. Okay, sharp. Okay, bye. Yes. Okay. Should I, are you going to drop and call back? Should I wait? All right. Okay. Okay, sure. Okay. All right, sure. Sorry, Bab. Yeah, they've pushed it back to 10. Listen, ungabu uwemeza uzosuka gijima ezikwena. Where's your camera? Yeah, I have one of the guys, Nomsa Aled, Amel Amgan. Nanges. Mama, nanges. Baba Jack. Hello? Yes? So, can you call me back? Sorry, sis. I have to go back on air now. Yes, it's fine. Yes, it's fine. Midday. All right, sure. Talk. Lang again. Cela ungathela u-advocate naye abeseduze. It's fine kodwa ngingambiza. But I'll signal.
Sophie? No, he cut a little bit. I can hear him now. I couldn't hear him then. I can hear him now.
I don't think I was because we argued, I think, in a small court. Did we argue?
Good morning to you. Once again, playing their former president arriving, as you've said, in court. We did say earlier on that he could come through the back entrance, but we know that once the court proceedings are done, he will make his way out to the supporters. And I must say, Blaine, from where I am, they are gathering more and more of his supporters. They've come from all over the province of KwaZulu-Natal, as well as the other provinces here to support the former president. Inside their plane, we do know that today he has a new defense team. That was after he terminated the services of Advocate J. Kemp. We'll also be bringing in a little bit later Advocate Makosazana Mbonani, who's our legal expert, just to speak to us as well about what is going to happen in court. She did say earlier on to us that it is likely to be a postponement. It's going to be a very brief appearance once again, because this new defense team will probably request time so that they can familiarize themselves with the case. We were just told that he is going to once again be appearing before the Deputy Judge, President Judge Madondo, and he heard the matter last time in June when they were in Durban. The visuals that you see there, some leaders of the ANC, former ministers. We see Faith Mutambi. They started arriving here early this morning. There's also quite the leadership from KwaZulu-Natal, from the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. They are here as well to support the former president. As you see there, those are the regional leaders of some of the regions here in KwaZulu-Natal. We also see there the former Minister Des van Rooyen amongst the senior leaders who are here to support the former president. I did earlier on also speak about around the courthouse, heavy security here this morning. In fact, only people with accreditation are being allowed inside court. So the police, they're taking no chances insofar as security. Have only allocated certain number of people inside court, of the leaders as well as members of the media. So it's going to be interesting, of course, to hear today what will be the way forward for his legal team. Maybe let me just now ask Advocate Bonani to come through to us. Advocate, proceedings should be getting underway shortly. As we see there, the former president, he's arrived. He's appearing alone this time after the representative from the company Thales. Ms. Christine Correa, last time did ask that she be excused from today's appearance because she was traveling from France every time she appeared in court. But we do know with Thales as well that they had filed their representation to the NPA, which were rejected.
Yes, that is true. So for this appearance, we can expect that they may make an application to have the decision that was rejected by the NPA set aside, because they are within their rights to do that. So yes, today we can expect that, and we can expect an application from the president's team to review the decision not to stay prosecution pending the finalization of his matter with regard to fees. But all in all, because there's a new legal team, they may need time to familiarize themselves with all that they have to meet the case. So we're likely to see a postponement today.
And just once again, maybe for our viewers who've just joined us, we know that there was also the matter of his defense team, and of course he's got a new defense team now. Will they possibly go ahead with the review application? Or, as you said, they are new, they possibly would want time to familiarize themselves with this case. But do you see a possibility of that application today?
Well, and what usually happens is that you have the old team handing over everything that they have done throughout the case to the new team. So if they have prepared enough, they may make that application, but it's not likely, because that application would need them to have gone through everything that the case has gone through. So it is a possibility, but we cannot say for sure.
With all these postponements so far, I mean, the state has said from the onset that they were ready. A postponement yet again today. They've put a provisional date for November. Do you really see it likely that this trial could get underway in November?
Well, it all depends on whether there's a review application made and whether the court grants that review application. So if there's an application made and it's granted by the court, that means a stay of the proceedings and it won't proceed. But if the application is made and the court, within its discretion, decides not to, the trial will have to proceed. And at that time, the defense team will have to meet the case that is preferred against the former president.
And of course, also we'll have to be closely watching that case in Johannesburg, that application brought by the DA and the EFF to review that agreement between the former president and the former president Thabo Mbeki regarding the legal fees. So that case also quite important, and the ruling there will have an import on what will happen in this matter.
Yes, well, the main reason why there was an application or the representations to stay the proceedings proceedings because the former president wanted to determine how he's going to structure his legal team depending on what he can afford. So if he was to pay his own legal fees or if the state was going to pay his legal fees, would be two different scenarios. So the outcome there, if the court says that he acted out of his own volition, he would have to pay his own legal fees. If the court decides that he acted within his office or the purview of his office, then the agreements would have to be honored. So that boils down to what representation he can have and whether or not these proceedings may continue in November.
Advocate Bonani, thank you. I know you are staying with us throughout the proceedings. Of course, we'll be eagerly waiting to find out what happens in court. As she said, they played that it is going to be a brief appearance as the courtroom prepares for the judge to make his way into court so those proceedings can get underway. I can tell you that outside, the numbers of people out here are growing. Of course, from last night with the night visual, and I have with me now the organizer representing the Radical Economic Transformation Champions, Mr. Nkosenja Shares. It started last night. You've been able to pull up quite a crowd this time. No incidents yet.
Yes, it has been quite a good turnout. You must understand that we have not really pulled out a crowd. All that we did, we set up a platform for the people of this province and the rest of the country to come and show their support, because the people love President Zuma for what he did. He stood for radical economic transformation. He stood for land expropriation without compensation. You would recall that currently in the national debates, there is issue around Ingonyama Trust and the issue around land. And we are saying that hands off Ingonyama Trust, and we know that President Zuma is being headhunted for standing against the white monopoly capital.
Sanjay, there was also some reports earlier on that some of the ANC leaders, an ANC member yourself, that some of the ANC leaders had said that they were not going to come out and support the former president today. Of course, mentioned there was the new provincial chairman of the ANC, Sihle Zikalala, of course, refuting those claims. You meet with the ANC leaders. What have they said? They're upset, as far as we know, issued a strong, heavily worded statement against the media reports.
Oh, for sure. We know that media, they try to set up the agenda for our country. You would understand that in the past we had Stratcom, and those operatives today, they may be still in operation. But what is happening today is going to be a test of our revolution, because ANC in particular, the leaders of ANC are here and they are behind President Jacob Zuma. But I'm not going to get into details and try to speak for them, because they are capable to speak for themselves. But everybody in this province and the rest of the country stand behind the leader of free education.
And as always, and we've seen once the court proceedings are done, the president does go out to address the supporters. I know that's the highlight of the day for them. Take us through what will happen again here once the court proceedings are over.
Look, these court proceedings have given us a platform to come together as radical economic transformation forces to say that we want implementation of the 54th Congress of the ANC NASREC resolution to be implemented now, not later. It has given us a platform to unite our people against an agenda to take land from the white monopoly capital. So indeed, after the court proceedings, President Zuma will come out and address us, and it's going to give us that platform to say that we stand united and we want our land back.
Thank you so much for your time. I know you said you have to go back to a court, and now, as you see in those visuals, there the acting deputy justice here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Judge Madondo, just entering the courtroom now. So we're going to go inside the court now for those proceedings to begin.
On behalf of the state, together with our colleagues Matenjwa and Ms. Kutsila.
And please, Your Lordship, I appear on behalf of accused number 1, Mr. Jacob Zuma, together with my learned friends, Mr. Musi Sikakani, Mr. Davi Jubir, Mr. Mani Masuku, and Mr. Mpilo Sikakani. I will appear on behalf of accused number 2 with Ms. Adikari,
Your Lordship will notice that in the accused dock there's only one person, because on the previous occasion Your Lordship excused my client from having its representative in court. So I place that on.
May it please the court, my lord, I think it's appropriate that we go first for the state. My lord, the court will remember that at the last appearance, the matter was postponed, despite the fact that the state at that stage was ready for trial. We place it on record again that the state is ready for trial, and as we all know, the Judge President had given us the date of the 12th of November for trial, so that is notionally possible. But Your Lordship granted the postponement because, for the following principal reasons, in respect of accused number one, Mr. Zuma, there were problems with financial instructions, and clarity was sought from the presidency about the funding of Mr. Zuma's legal expenses. That matter has, in the interim, we are informed, that matter has been resolved, and Mr. Zuma's team now is properly instructed and ready to proceed on that basis. So that issue has been resolved. As far as accused number two is concerned, the matter was postponed for the outcome of representations which accused number two had made to the National Director of Public, or rather to the Director of Public Prosecutions, to have the matter withdrawn for the reasons given in the representations. That matter has also been resolved in as much as the representations have been turned down, and it has been decided on behalf of the National Prosecuting Authority that the matter should proceed. So those two issues which were holding us up have now been resolved, and so once again the state is ready for trial. It was envisaged at the last postponement, Your Lordship will remember, that both parties had indicated that they were considering bringing permanent stay applications, depending on the result of, number one, the financial instructions, and number two, the representations. Both parties have indicated to the state that they do wish to bring permanent stay applications, and that matter must then be resolved by the court. That being so, we as the state and as the two defense parties have got together to see if we can't work out some sort of acceptable timetable in terms of which we will exchange papers by certain dates and answer those papers, and if necessary reply, compile heads of argument, and then ask either this court or the Judge President to set a date to hear the issue and determine the two permanent stay applications. My Lord, we're not far from each other. Unfortunately, we're not in a position to state that we have agreed on a timetable. And let me put up front, my Lord, what the problem is. My learned friend for accused number one, Mr. Zuma, wants a date, as we understand and as he's informed us, in mid-November for the filing of their papers. My learned friend will no doubt address you on why that is. We say, my Lord, that we regard that as too long, that under the circumstances, given that the issues are more or less known, they have formed, look, we don't know what the representations are going to consist of. We haven't seen them yet. We can only imagine that they will traverse issues which have been traversed in the representations, which were lengthy and which caused delays. We can also only imagine that they will also traverse issues which in some or other respects have been adjudicated upon in various courts in this country, from the High Courts to the Supreme Court of Appeal to the Constitutional Court. We can only imagine so. But what I'm telling Your Lordship in short is that we would think that mid-November is too late. It delays the matter too much, and that would push us in for a hearing sometime into the first term of next year, 2019, which we would also we would want to avoid. We would want to work out some way of getting it done earlier, with hopefully a hearing in theory sometime this year still, so that the permanent stay could be resolved then, so that we can get on to trial, which we're so keen to get to. So that in short is the state's attitude. As far as accused number two is concerned, There's not as much disagreement. There's no firm agreement, but I think we can say that there's no substantial disagreement. Let's put it that way. My learned friend for number 2 will no doubt address you further on that. As far as so your lordship will determine what the appropriate date is in terms of which my learned friends must be put on terms to file papers in respect of the permanent stay application. We would ask that your lordship consider a month from now, a month to 6 weeks, and that would bring us to the end of August, early September, and then we could get on to filing papers in answer, which might enable the judge president or the judge presiding in this matter to set a date for hearing earlier on. That being so, there's one thing on which all counsel agree firmly, my lord, and that is good news. That is that whatever the outcome of your lordship's order relating to the filing of papers, we think that a holding date for the criminal trial of the 30th of November would be appropriate. We've discussed that at length, and we all think that whatever your lordship's order relating to the permanent stay applications, we need the holding date this year so that we can see where we are, resolve issues, make applications, and get further orders from the court as necessary. So the holding date of 30th of November we agree on. What precisely will happen on the day will depend on your lordship's order now and how what progress we make in respect of the permanent stay application. So I think, but once again, the state is more than ready for trial. And perhaps I should just mention one final point, my lord. The National Director, in declining accused number 2's representations, indicated that he was considering adding a further charge to the indictment or making application to the court for an amendment to the indictment. We, as we now stand, have made recommendations. We have not been able to resolve the issue finally with the National Director because the indication was given only a number of days ago. But we would, from the prosecution side in this court, assure the court that that is not an issue of substance as we see it, and in all likelihood it will not play a further part in the progress of the matter as we go on from here.
Adding another charge to accused number 2.
To accused number 2, as we understand it, it is being considered that a further sub-count to one of the alternative counts in respect only of accused number 2 is being considered. That's as far as it goes.
In the light of the history of this case, do you think 1 month will be adequate for the defense to put everything together for this application?
Well, my lord, that is our firm application, and we do that. We don't do that lightly. And my lord, to be quite frank, the best point, which I think my learned friend would make, and the most difficult point for us, let's put it up front, is the fact that there's a new team. That we concede. There is a new team. Mr. Kemp has retired. My learned friends have now been instructed afresh. That is so. Why there was a change of attorney would seem to be an issue which we think should not really have affect the conduct of this case. But that being so, the issues which we can only imagine would be put in the permanent stay application, we would think are issues which have largely been in contention between the state and Mr. Zuma in various forms for a very long number of years. And the notion to bring a permanent stay application is not new. The issues which are sought to be resolved, so we would imagine, are not fresh, and it would be expected that the material available is material which has been collated, traversed, put into papers, answered, replied, and we would think that giving it a diligent effort, a team as big as my learned friend's team would be able to put something together and should put something together in a time shorter than the middle of November. We're now July, that's August, September, October, November, 3.5 months for issues which we would imagine are
July is at the end.
My Lord?
I say July is at the end. You may not even count it.
Yeah. So August, September, October, November. So it's 3.5 months.
All right. Are you through?
Yeah. So my Lord, that is the state's request, and we ask that the court take it into account in deciding what an appropriate time period is. But we can't agree that 3.5 months is reasonable under the circumstances.
Okay. After receipt of the application, how long will you need to respond?
And in terms of that, my Lord, I must place on record that between counsel for the defence, both parties and the state, we're all in principle at idem that reasonable time periods need to be given. We're not going to be bound by, we're not going to consider each other bound by rules of court formal if such apply. But reasonably speaking, depending on the nature of the representations and the issues which arise from them, we would need some time. So we would think if we require 30 days from them now, we would think that a month would be sufficient for us.
Sufficient.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think, my Lord, unless there's anything further at this stage, I think that really is the state's application. The application, in short, from the state is that this matter be postponed to the 30th of November, that we all agree on, the criminal case, and that the court now issue orders and place the parties under obligation to file by a certain date. We want an earlier date rather than a later date, and we would suggest a date more in the nature at the end of August or the beginning of September, rather than the middle of November, given the history of this case. Okay. Sorry. My Lord, yes, we jumped up and didn't give my learned friend who's standing in for Mr. Hully to excuse Mr. Hully, so perhaps we should give her that opportunity.
May it please the court, my Lord, I appear on behalf of Mr. Hully in this matter, Mamvura initials GM for the record. My instructions are to formally place it on record today that Mr. Hully is no longer the attorney of record of Mr. Jacob Zuma, accused number 1.
So you want to be excused?
Yes, my Lord.
Is there any objection?
No objection from the state side, no.
Okay, Mr. Hully's excused as the legal representative of office number 1.
As the court pleases.
And you also may be excused unless if you want to sit in and listen to the further proceedings if you wish.
Yes,
but in any event, you are excused.
As the court pleases.
Okay, Mr. Allens?
Thank you, my Lord. Mr. Dana, I'm sure inadvertently was a little presumptuous. He says he wants to get this application for a permanent stay heard so that he can get on with the trial. Well, that rather presupposes that the permanent stay will not be granted and has no prospect, and we hold a very contrary view, but I'm sure that was just a slip of the tongue. And my Lord, we are a new team. We have a new attorney. I'm not sure why Mr. Dana suggests that the change of attorney can't make a fundamental difference. We take instructions from our attorney. We are guided by our attorney. We are subject to some extent, the dictates of our attorney. He's an essential part of our team, and he too is new to the matter. We are all new to the matter. We have taken diligent steps once briefed, once it became clear that Mr. Kemp had decided to retire from the bar. And it's a very significant factor. He has a tremendous historical history in the matter, which we do not have. We've sat for nearly a day with him, 2/3 of a day. His offices are full with documents relating to this matter. We gleaned what we could. We hired a motor car to transport all the core of what we think we need from Durban to Johannesburg. We set about assessing information that we thought we needed and wrote a letter to the state the day before yesterday. It's a substantial letter, and it sets out what documents we need to chart our way forward. We don't suggest that the state should have answered that letter already, but we did it as a matter of necessity. We did it as a show of faith that we're not just here to cause a delay. We've applied our minds. And what has the application of our minds brought us to, my Lord? If I could indicate, and of course this is not the time to argue the matter, it is, the previous legal team stood at a crossroads where they were considering a review of the failure of the representations of Mr. Zuma, alternatively a permanent stay. We have assiduously looked at the matter and decided definitively that a review would not be appropriate, and we've discarded that as an option. So progress has been made. We have also, though, decided on the evidence that we have available, and there is much more that we have asked for, which will guide us further in the nature of the application that we will bring, that a permanent stay is a very realistic option and has great prospects of success. However, there are a lot of documents that we have called for. They may otherwise have emerged as part of records of decision in review applications if such were brought, but we have declined to bring review applications as some kind of mechanism for obtaining discovery, if I can put it that way. We have written to the National Director and asked for the documents, and we trust that they will be forthcoming. Of course, they are not yet forthcoming. It's only 2 days old, the request. But it is entirely unrealistic. I know my learned friend, a man of integrity, wishes to pursue his brief to get on with the prosecution with the kind of alacrity that he feels is appropriate. But Mr. Dana, in all his goodness, cannot dictate to me, Michael Helens, and my team, Mr. Sikani, Mr. Jabir, Mr. Masuku, and Mr. Sikakani, that he knows how long we need to get a very substantial application together when we don't yet have all of the papers of Mr. Kemp to start off with, but more particularly of the substantial nature that we requested from the state. Now, turning my words into something more concrete, let me say with sobriety and some dismay on behalf of the South African state that the 4 pillars of this permanent stay application are going to be a delay in charging, known in constitutional law as charge delay, a delay in coming to trial, known as trial delay. But there are 2 far more ominous aspects to the permanent stay application. And the one is significant pretrial irregularities in the conduct of the investigating authorities, the DSO as it was then called, and the NPA. And I mention only two aspects, very serious constitutional implications. The Browse Mole report, where the DSO, with no lawful authority, were eavesdropping, telephone tapping, and spying on Mr. Zuma, and compiled a report as if this was some Cold War operation of the 1950s or 60s. The spy tapes, and it's not a rehash of that which served before the Supreme Court of Appeal, but it is the significance in terms of pretrial irregularity and the undermining of the constitutional principles of privacy and regular conduct vis-a-vis any suspect that the spy tapes will come into being. And then more ominously, and it's sad for this country, executive interference, executive at the highest level interference with prosecutorial independence. Now, my Lord, I won't say more about those 4 pillars now because this is merely an application to arrange dates. But as you will appreciate, a responsible team of advocates led by a responsible attorney cannot lightly produce papers covering a 17-year period, making such serious allegations as I have foreshadowed, and be told, take a month to do it, and we haven't yet given you the documents. I know we're not out of time to give you the documents, but we think you can do it by end of August. My Lord, today is nearly the end of July. We are entitled to take a brief. We also have lives in our own professional lives. I know Mr. Downer may have other cases to prosecute, but I suppose he can farm them out. We have some things in our diaries already, but we give this matter priority, and we say to you in all honesty and professional forthrightness and responsibility that we believe mid-November we will have a formidable application ready for the state to answer. And we need that time. I have my team working on a chronology, gathering every document, court record, judgment, letter, correspondence, notes on meetings from 2001, when this matter more or less began, till the present day. As we speak, there are new statements coming in from the state. We know one is coming. And we also know that the state, in all its holiness and its readiness for trial, are considering amending the indictment at this late stage. Now, although that may be only against accused number 2, it brings to light the possibility of further statements. We understand there is a possibility of further statements. And there is always a knock-on effect in atmosphere, in the nature of evidence being led. If there's another charge against accused number 2, it has to somehow relate to Mr. Zuma, and we would have to take that into account. So the State's House is not in order. The State's House is subject to further investigation going on and a potential to an amended indictment. So we say, with great respect for Mr. Downer, he pushes us too far. He pursues his mandate too vigorously. And if he were to succeed in persuading your Lordship that we have to bring this application by the end of August, he will create even further delays than would otherwise occur if we had the time which, in all responsibility, we indicate to you we need. And when one views it practically from the other end, it seems highly unlikely that the permanent stay, given the time even more shortened than we would ask for, necessary, because to complete the set of papers there would have to be an answer. And I make this promise to the court and my learned friend, it will be a substantial application, not only in volume, but in weight and content and seriousness for this constitutional democracy. So a rush to put us to produce a document which will take a substantial time to answer, and then there would be time for reply, this process will not terminate this year, and we will clearly have a hearing in February or March next year. So why put us under pressure to hit a timeline that will result in any event in a matter being heard next year? And with a great potential, I give your Lordship the assurance that it will be the end of the matter. There will not be a trial, but that will be the decision of the judge hearing the matter. So, and on the question of the hearing, I believe it will take at least a week for the hearing. It will be a substantial document. We agree that the 30th of November can be a holding date or provisional date. And we give your Lordship assurance. We read in the press that seems to be running this country at the moment, that there are Stalingrad tactics being employed. Well, this is not Stalingrad, this is Pietermaritzburg. I'm an advocate of this court, a servant of this court, and we need that time to do a responsible job against not only the former president of the country, but just an ordinary citizen of this country. He's entitled to a full and adequate defense, and we ask your Lordship to give us the time. So on the one hand, we stand on principle that we need that time. On the other hand, we stand on practicality. This job is not going to be done with a rush, and a rush will frustrate the doing of a good job. I believe my learned friend in his heart of hearts would understand that when this team of lawyers tells him that's what we need, he really knows that's what we need, but he's trying to press a case in terms of his instructions, which are not ominous or subterranean. Simply they want to get on with it, but things have passed at that moment, and what we submit to your Lordship we believe is a responsible attitude. So we would ask that we be ordered to file our application for a permanent stay by mid-November, and let me give that a date. The 16th of November, I would suggest, and that your Lordship, so we would be ordered to file our application for a permanent stay by the 16th of November 2018. That your Lordship postpone the matter, as my learned friend has indicated, to 30 November 2018 as a provisional date. On that date, obviously, we will be able to assess where we are. I do confirm that we've agreed between ourselves, Mr. Katz and Mr. Downer, that in terms of which rules of court or the mechanisms for the application and time limits, normal time limits such as provided for in the Uniform Rules of Court would not apply, and we would agree generous or reasonable time limits between ourselves. Even that concession between all of the parties indicates to your Lordship that there is a recognition that we, as the representatives of the respective parties, are setting about this job in a responsible manner, meeting each other in a responsible way. So the only difference really is Mr. Downer, with no information as to what I'm going to put in the application, how much reading we can have done in the short time we've been briefed, how much reading we need to do, and how we're going to construct our case, says with an empty or a hollow resonance, give them a month. Well, Judge, a month is not enough for us. We need mid-November. So we would ask, postpone the matter to the 30th of November and order us to file our application for a permanent stay by the 16th of November. This matter will be heard in any event next year. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kurtz.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's one issue, my Lord. It's a footnote. We are ready, and there are not going to be funding problems with this team. It is so that there is some litigation still outstanding about costs and funding, but the outcome of those things are not going to affect our attitude. So you can rest assured that this team is here and here to stay. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Helens. On the previous occasion, it was indicated that the accused number one still wishes to pursue the review application. Do you agree with Mr. Downer that is no longer an issue?
Sorry, my Lord, I thought I'd mentioned that, but let me deal with that. We as a team have looked at that question of review and decided that it is not a good option, not a viable option, and not one that Mr. Zuma chooses. So your Lordship makes an extremely valid point. Progress has been made, because otherwise there might have been a review and thereafter a permanent stay application. We're over that hill. We have abandoned any thought of a review, and we are firmly fixed now on the permanent stay application. So there is greater clarity from the last occasion. Your Lordship is right to ask me.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kurtz?
Thank you, my Lord. My Lord, let me place on record accused number two's attitude to the various issues that have arisen, and in particular the arguments that have been made by Mr. Downer and Mr. Helens. In the first instance, we agree that it would be appropriate that this matter, the criminal trial, be postponed to the 30th of November 2018 as a holding date. The one caveat to that is that I mentioned in my introduction this morning that the representative of accused number two is not in court, and we would ask that a similar ruling be made, that this matter be postponed to the 30th of November 2018 without the need for that representative to be in court. We have not, our legal team have not discussed that date with the representative, and if there was a problem as to her availability, that could rise an issue. But Mr. Downer has indicated that it seems to him that there would be no problem with such an order. So that's the first thing that I'd like to place on record. The second thing, in light of that, we would also like to indicate to the court that our client has at all times over the 17 or 18-year period attempted at least to cooperate with the prosecution. And in like manner, in leading up to today, we have attempted at all times to cooperate with what we would describe as a prosecution based on some type of integrity, at least as far as arranging the court dates, etc. I would like, however, to place on record what our stance is in respect of where we're going forward. And the first aspect is that our instructions are that we do intend to bring a permanent stay application. We have received a response, if one can call it that, to our representations. We received it 2 days ago, and I'd like to hand up a copy of the response to the court with the leave of the court, because I'd like to just place on record certain of the aspects that arise from the response. The first is that we put our representations in to Mr. Dana on the 6th of June 2018. The response did not come from the DPP or Mr. Dana, but it came from the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Mr. Abrams. And I'd like to just take the court through it, because your Lordship may wish to make certain orders arising from what's contained in the response of Advocate Abrams. The first, there are 5 paragraphs, short paragraphs, each one. The first says your representation submitted on 6 June 2018 refer, and this is dated, Advocate Abrams' response is dated 25 July 2018, so he took, say, 6 weeks to respond to the reps. He says in paragraph 2, after careful consideration of the matter, I'm of the view that there are reasonable prospects of a successful prosecution against your client. I just wish to place on record, it's a point that we will make at some later stage. Don't want to argue our case now. But that consideration is a non-response, because our representations did not go in any way to the prospects of a successful prosecution or otherwise. Our representations indicated one issue and one issue only, and that our client can't obtain a fair trial. And the prospects of a successful prosecution against our client were absolutely irrelevant to our representations. We have no doubt that Mr. Dana read our representations, but we're not sure that, bearing in mind what is contained in this letter from Advocate Abrams, that this is an appropriate or indeed a response at all to what is contained in our representations. His next paragraph says, because of that, your representations are thus unsuccessful. Well, we submit that that's a non sequitur, because that wasn't the basis of our representations. And now in paragraph 4, there's something that we would regard as unfortunate on 3 different, or at least 2 different levels, and we would ask that your Lordship make some order in respect of paragraph 4. What Advocate Abrams says is, I've also requested the prosecuting team, that would be Mr. Dana and his colleagues, to provide me with their views on the prospects of preferring charges against your client in terms of Section 5 sub B of Act 12 of 2004 in subcount 2 of count 3. Now we've looked at Act 12 of 2004, I have it in front of me, and we don't see a Section 5B. There is no such section. And we find that unfortunate that the National Director of Public Prosecutions can, after taking 2 months to consider our representations, can refer to a section which, in our view, perhaps wrongly, doesn't exist. Perhaps it's a typo, perhaps there's some other difficulty, but we find it unfortunate. We also find it unfortunate on a second leg that the prosecution team have indicated to the courts and to us that they are ready for trial. And yet here we see what we would regard as a possible amendment to the indictment. So can it really be suggested that the prosecution team is ready for trial today, or as they said 2 months ago, 3 months ago? So we have certain concerns, and our client certainly has certain concerns. The third aspect on this issue, which I'd just like to indicate to the court, is that we've read in the media that there is a particular person who has provided a 17-page statement to the investigating officer in respect of this case. We haven't seen it. I've discussed it with Mr. Dana. He's indicated quite fairly that he will provide it to us. We don't know what it says. We don't know how it would, could, or should influence our client as far as the criminal trial, as far as the representations, as far as the permanent stay application is concerned. So what we would ask the court to do is to put the state on terms and make an order that by a certain date, maybe a week, Mr. Dana gives us what he would regard as the final indictment, close of all options of charging my client with a section which may or may not exist. And if there are further affidavits that have come into the possession of the investigating officer in the investigating team, they provide it to us within this particular period of time. Once that has been completed by the prosecuting team, we will be in a position, we suspect, to launch our permanent stay application within the time period that Mr. Dana has indicated. The papers are on an advanced stage. We've already started preparing them. And we would, in principle, subject to this issue of the new charge and any new evidence that has come to light, to launch our permanent stay within, say, a month, 6 weeks, as indicated by Mr. Dana. So we would ask that, one, the criminal trial be postponed to the 30th of November 2018 with the express provision, the express understanding that the representative of our client need not appear. Number two, order the state to indicate to us through our attorney exactly what the final indictment will consist of, and if there are further affidavits that have come to light, they be ordered to give it to us within this, say, short period of time. As far as the permanent stay application, your Lordship has heard what I've got to say, and we will fit in, and as we have done in the past, cooperate in any way that we can. As a business.
So how much time do you need?
Excuse me, sorry, someone?
How much time do you need for the permanent stay application?
Yes. We don't have an objection to either the timelines suggested by the prosecution nor Mr. Helens. If the court orders Mr. Helens' timeline, we have no objection. If it orders Mr. Dana's timeline, we have no objection. Subject to this question of the amendment to the indictment in respect of our client and any further evidence. If, for example, in 3 weeks' time there's an amendment to the indictment, all my offer of no objection to Mr. Dana's timeline may have some limitation. So we would suggest we need to know what is the final amount, what is the evidence that we are facing, what is the final indictment that we are facing. Once we have that, we will be in a position to comply with any timeline that your Lordship orders, whether it be Mr. Helens' timeline or Mr. And we're agnostic really on that, subject to protecting our rights as far as the fair timeline is concerned.
Do you agree that both of the applications will be heard together?
Yes, the question that I understand Mr. Dana and Mr. Helens to have some interest in is whether our client agrees that both permanent stays be heard together. That is that of Mr. Zuma and that is of our client. We're not in a position, and we don't have instructions to agree that those two applications should be heard together. However, were the court to order that the two applications be heard together through some consolidated means, through some court management scheme, it would be difficult for us to think of a realistic reason to object. Subject to this, in our view, the appropriate mechanism for the relief that our clients intending to seek would be a civil case. Under Rule 6, probably wouldn't be under Rule 53. You've heard that we agreed, the three parties have agreed that the strict timelines set out in Rule 6 wouldn't bind the parties. But what we wouldn't want to necessarily do is agree that that Rule 6 application be heard together with some other application which is part of the criminal trial. So we would have to see how it worked out, and we don't have a serious or a principled objection for the two applications to be heard together, but it would depend. It would depend on the contents, it would depend on when they brought it, it would depend on your Lordship's order. So that's that's our position as far as that. But we will cooperate in whatever way we can, but we do require the court and the state to indicate what it is that we are facing, and if there is new evidence that the investigating team have in their possession vis-a-vis our client, we wish to see it as soon as possible, as it pleases. Excuse me, my Lord.
Okay. Mr. Downer, do you have any?
There are some points.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you finished?
Yeah. Yes, I'm reminded by Mr. to just make the point that as far as Mr. Downer's timeline is concerned, we would cooperate with that timeline subject to how it is that your Lordship deals with this question of the new charges and the new evidence that may or may not be up there, as it pleases your Lordship.
Yes.
Well, please the court, my lord. Just a couple of replies. My lord, both my learned friends have raised this issue of the new charge, and might I just say up front that we agree on the side of the state that we will very, very soon, and certainly within the week that my learned friend for accused number 2 proposes, indicate what the position is. I might also just place on record, as it's evident from this letter, that we received a request from the National Director to advise him. We advised him immediately on receiving such a request on the same day. So the advice has been done, and from our point of view, the issue ought not to affect the further conduct of this trial at all.
Okay, what do you say about Section 5B, which Mr. Katz alleges that it does not exist?
There is no Section 5B of the Prevention of and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act 12 of 2004. There is a 5.1b, and there's a 5.2b as well, in 5 in brackets 1 in brackets 2. I agree, there is no such charge.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's a 5.1b, indeed. As I said, it ought not to affect the further conduct of this trial. My Lord, let me also just place on record that I'm extraordinarily grateful to my learned friend for accused number 1, Mr. Zuma. Your Lordship might not know this, but it was, I think I'm right, in this very court, in this very courtroom, before another of your Lordship's brethren, that I appeared, and a previous counsel for accused number 1, Mr. Zuma, and where it was placed on record that going forward, the tactics of accused number 1, Mr. Zuma, were going to be and were akin to a Stalingrad tactic. So that Stalingrad tactic, the Stalingrad approach, came not from the press, not from some construction of commentators relating to the proceedings, the very lengthy proceedings that have occurred in the last decade or so and more for this case. They came out of the mouth of previous counsel for accused number 1. As I understand it, Mr. Helens, my learned friend, has abandoned the Stalingrad tactic. And as far as I know, this is the first that this has been put on record in court or in any forum, that this is a tactic which previously persisted and had been adopted seriously, but that had in fact been abandoned. So for that, we're extraordinarily grateful. We take it very seriously from our learned friend. I would have expected nothing less from our learned friend, Mr. Helens, whom I know very well. And he's been complimentary all round, so we can return the compliment. That being so, we nevertheless have suffered as a result of those tactics by the various delays. That will be part of our argument. My learned friend will have some arguments to the contrary. That's all fine, that will duly, but that explains our disquiet that we are now a year down the line, nearly a year down the line from the decision to cancel the previous decision not to proceed with the charges, and yet we are still involved in preliminary litigation. I take on board everything my learned friend has said about the time he needs, etc. I would ask this court to take into consideration that background and to hurry us all along. Just some other points. We all agree on the holding date. We all agree relating to the excusing of accused number 2's representative. And my Lord, let me just put that in perspective. Again, this is now the second time that we will ask the court to excuse her. It's a peculiar circumstance because accused number 2 is a corporation. So there is no person actually really necessary, and there's no prejudice that would be suffered by the absence of the representative. That could be any representative at any stage of the trial at the state's election, obviously in consultation with the representatives for the corporation. So it is of no moment, and we rely on the assurances that whenever we need a representative, that representative will be available and will be in court. So I place that on record. I'm also grateful to my learned friend for those assurances. And just my learned friend for accused number 2 said that he regarded the NDPP's answer that he thinks that there are reasonable prospects of success as a non-answer because it was not an issue in the representations whether there are reasonable prospects of success. I think one can say that it's not quite correct because the reasonable prospects of success would include the prospects of success of a fair trial attack. It's not just on the merits, obviously. It also would depend on an appraisal as to whether the NDPP and we thought that a permanent stay application, for instance, or other fair trial litigation would be unsuccessful. So I would imagine, well, that is certainly what is meant by the reply. Reasonable prospect. It means including everything. We think the state would succeed. As far as the further statement is concerned, and that goes together with our assurances relating to a final indictment, my Lord, might I just say that we will absolutely give that assurance that it is the final indictment. That obviously doesn't at any stage preclude the state, in terms of the rules of court and the Criminal Procedure Act, from applying for an amendment to the indictment. It happens in every criminal case, in every court in this country from time to time. It doesn't affect the nature of the finality of the indictment. We certainly, apart from this tiny glitch, we certainly don't intend amending the indictment. But we can never guarantee that we will never in the future ask for an amendment to the indictment. It's actually a non-issue because we all agree on that. And whether it's merited or not will depend on the circumstances. That doesn't affect the conduct of the trial and applications for further, for permanent stays, etc. And as far as the further statement is concerned, I might also just say that it's a common complaint from criminals, from criminal counsel, from representatives and from accused, that the state doesn't finish its investigations prior to a trial. And if there is further material which emerges, then there's a hue and a cry about, but why is the investigation continuing? All I say is that there's law on these issues, and we certainly, if anything new crops up, we give it immediately to the defense because they're entitled to the contents of our docket, and we've already assured my learned friend that we had already decided that they will be placed in possession of this new statement. So we give our, in fact, they'll get it today. The investigating officer has the details of counsel and the attorney, and it will be provided to both sides. Yeah, and as to the hearing of the two applications together, once again, I think it's a mark of extraordinary progress in this case that counsel can agree on a general approach, and we give our assurances on the side of the state that we'll work something out between counsel now that counsel is not adopting a Stalingrad approach. And we don't think that there'll be any hindrances to us being able to reach sensible accommodations to get this matter going. And my learned friend for accused number 1 thinks that the matter won't go after the permanent stay. Well, obviously we think that it will. But that, of course, is a disagreement which will be determined by the courts in due course. Is there anything else? Okay, I think that's all, my Lord, unless there's anything further.
Lord, may I make one submission? My learned friend seems to paint me with a brush that would suggest that I'm very familiar with the Stalingrad tactic, so familiar that I may even have been to Stalingrad. But what I meant to say, and what I think I did say, was, well, I've heard about this phrase. It does not exist in this team. We were briefed, we looked at what we could, we decided no review, we decided permanent stay, we looked at time limits, and they are what we have suggested to your Lordship. So let me not be party to saying I've abandoned Stalingrad tactics and I'm now heading directly for Moscow. We got the matter and we said we will deal with this matter. And we asked for the time that we've asked for. And let me say, my Lord, my learned friend for number 2 might be ready sooner. It doesn't help him to be ready sooner if we all agreed, more or less, that we're going to go to court at the same time. Give us the opportunity of putting together a proper case which will be determined within a reasonable time, given a 17-year time frame against which today has to be seen. But thank you for the indulgence, my Lord.
Thank you. So when this matter was adjourned on the 8th of June, to this date, it was brought to the notice of this court that the defense for accused number 1 might need time to raise funds depending on the outcome of an application lodged in Gauteng. And secondly, that it will also consider bringing up a review application. Today, this court has been assured that the funding issue does no longer exist, and further, the defense for accused number 1 is no longer wishing to pursue a review application. The issue which is propped up today from the fact that both defense for accused number 1 and 2 wishes to bring an application for a permanent stay, which the state does not object at the moment, that there should be such a moment. But the problem which has arisen is the time period between which such application can be filed. Accused number 2 on the last occasion was excused from further attendance today. But accused number 2 is represented by Mr. Katz. Let me deal with the bigger issue, because Mr. Katz is in between. He goes with Mr. Downer, and on the other hand, he also goes with Mr. Helens. So it must be, at times, you may find him hunting with the dogs and running with the hares. Mr. Dana has proposed that 4 weeks will be adequate for the filing of the contemplated application. He says the issues which must be contained in the application will be issues which all along have been in contention between the parties. So, in order not to delay the proceeding any further, the time for filing should be shortened. On the other hand, Mr. Helens has got a different view, because he says, taking into account or into consideration the 17-year history of this case, secondly, the fact that there are a new legal team in this matter which is not conversant with the proceedings or which has not been involved previously, and the voluminous of documents which could be involved in the matter, they need time more than 4 weeks to file this application And in his view, in any event, the application will not be had this year. It could be had next year in the first quarter of the year. Mr. Katz, for accused number 2, well, to him, 4 weeks will be appropriate. But if 4 weeks not granted, more time than 4 weeks also will be appropriate. So I would not go much into details into his stance in this regard. Then his stance will be informed by the decision of this court. So every trial in terms of law should be fair. So in the circumstances, one has to take into account in deciding the time period whether the fairness of the trial will somehow be prejudiced by not giving the defense an adequate time to prepare its application, and whether the time considered will be adequate for the defense to prepare its application in the manner one could say that one could say that the accused has a fair trial or a fair and adequate period to prepare. Well, one may be eager to get the matter finalized, but the circumstances may not go along with that wish. Mr. Katz has raised, or after Mr. Jauna also has indicated that the director, the National Director of Public Prosecution, is contemplating adding a charge, an additional charge to accused number 2. But surprisingly so, both agreed that the section under which that charge could be brought does not exist. So we really don't know where the National Director obtained that section from. Maybe, I don't know. That should be cleared. And what kind of information or evidence has been gathered to necessitate such a further charge? That's what Mr. Katz wants to know, so to be able to prepare. In other words, so far the indictment is not yet final, because some more charges are going to be brought onto the fore. So that also should be taken into account and in computing the time period. Well, all the parties have agreed that this matter should be provisionally adjourned to the 30th of November. I think all parties agree. Mr. Helens has also indicated that there were some kind of irregularities and a lot of things. I will not go into details. Even alluded to the executive interference in the matter. That on its own may take the defense some time to probe into that with a view to finding grounds for the application, and if the application phase has been thought, which I don't know what will happen to the application, but if in any event, if it fails, then the defendant will be still in a position to prepare for any proceeding which may later ensue. So taking all these factors into consideration, I come to the conclusion that a 4-month period, a 4 weeks period would not be sufficient for the defense to prepare and to gather the necessary information for the contemplated application for stay of the proceedings. Mr. Helens has alluded to 16 November as the date by which the defense will be in a position to file this application. Obviously, the time the state will need will be somehow informed by the contents of the application. That could be decided also on the 30th. I think that should be that will have time to be attended to on the 30th. So let me start with this non-existing section. That the state is ordered to provide Mr. Katz for accused number 2 with a final indictment within a period of 14 days, and to clarify the issue relating to the section in dispute, which is referred to in the letter dated 25 July 2018 as Section 5B of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act 12 of 2004 in sub-count 2 of count 3. That should be cleared because both the state and the defense agree that that section does not exist. The one which Mr. Downer has said that it exists, we don't know whether it makes the same provision or not. That should be cleared within this period I've indicated earlier on. And now coming to the time period, as I've said earlier on, that I also think that at least a 3 months period will be sufficient. So, which means that the defense will be ordered to file this application on or before the 16th of November 2018, and the response thereto, or the time period for the response thereto, will be determined on the holding date. I think at that time the state will be in a position to know where it stands regarding its response and what time period it needs. And Mr. Zuma, will you please stand up? By agreement or by consent, your matter is provisionally adjourned to the 30th of November 2018 in this court. You are required to attend court on that day, and you will be released as before on your own recognitions. I assume that you know what may follow if you decide not to attend court on that day, which I don't think you'll do. And with regard to accused number 2, there has been agreement that she will further be excused from attendance on that day. I don't think I've omitted anything. Is there anything omitted, Mr. Allen?
I don't believe so.
Mr. Downer?
No, Lord, I think that was very full. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Zuma. You may be excused. Court adjourns.
Okay, let's get you caught up if you just joined us.
just say about tomorrow? Okay, cheers.
Cheers, eh?
Okay, nice, thanks. Nice.
All right. Cheers. What's all right? All right. Okay.
No, sure.
Get out to it. Oh, lovely to see you. Cheers, actually. All right.
Pushana bafethu, it's not personal, asixabene.
Pusha kakhulu. Cha. Pusha ubaba kakhulu. Nayi phansi, ubale phansi
So sengishona ukuthi madoda maningishaya ngesithende it's fine, asixabene.
Neil can send. I'll talk to Neil.
Still coming to you live now outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court, where the case against former President Jacob Zuma has just been provisionally adjourned to the 30th of November by Judge Madondo. As expected, as we were speaking throughout the morning, that it was expected, legal experts telling us that it was going to be a postponement today, but of course some interesting points coming out of court today insofar as the arguments from the state as well as the defense on the date as well as some other issues that needed to be dealt with. There was the matter of the review application that we now know the state has abandoned, the defense, I beg your pardon, has abandoned, and instead they intend to file for a permanent stay of prosecution. You should be seeing now in your visuals former president walking out of the court, making his way across the courthouse to Freedom Square, where thousands of his supporters that began gathering from last night, growing since this morning, have come out here in support of Mr. Zuma, and he is expected, as now has become a tradition in this case, that he, after the court appearances, goes and addresses the masses that have come out to join him there. As we speak over and before we go to the podium where an official program will be happening shortly there, ANC leaders are here from the province of KwaZulu-Natal, led by the chairperson of the ANC there, Mr. Sihle Zikalala. There's also former ministers, other senior leaders of the ANC that are out here today to show their support for the former president. And as you watch those visuals, let me just chat to our advocate just to go through what happened very briefly in court today. Advocate Makosazana Mbonani, thanks again for staying with us. We were, you had said in the morning, of course, as expected, it was going to be a postponement to allow the new defense team, Advocate Mike Henlin, to a time to familiarize themselves with the case, and indeed that is what has come out in court. But firstly, for the state, Advocate Billy Downer, he came in to say that they were ready and that the defense had enough time, and that they hope that within the 3 months from now to the 30th of November that they should be ready. But however, for the defense saying no, we still need some time.
Thank you for having me on again. Well, today we can say that it went as expected, apart from the fact that there was an abandonment for the review application. So quickly, the state's case today was that, yes, we accept that there's a change of the legal team. However, we do not think that a postponement to the mid of November, because that is what has been said by the defense team, is necessary for you to prepare an application for a permanent stay of the application. So yes, the defense and the states met beforehand, and they agreed to a provisional date of the 30th of November. What they are not in agreement with is that there's going to be an application for, they agree that there's going to be an application for a permanent stay of prosecution. They do not agree on the dates. The case of the states is that the defense, while the former president has parted ways with his former team, it shouldn't be that difficult to make an application for a permanent stay, because representations have previously been made, and that was the case of the states. The case of the defense, however, is that we want to prepare a thorough case, and we believe that we are going to be granted for several reasons that he mentioned. One being irregularities in the state's case, the investigation, and so forth. So for us to make for us to properly prepare, we need to be given proper time. And if we postpone to a date which was between 4 to 6 weeks, we will not be ready then, and that will occasion further postponements, which is not desirable. And he did say that he's aware that the media has, as well as counsel before in court, has said that this is a delay tactic, and he assured the court and his learned colleagues that he just wants to prepare a proper case, and that's what eventually happened. With regard to the co-accused, counsel for co-accused said that what they want is because as we know that the NDPP is considering amending the indictments on the co-accused. So counsel just presented to the court that as long as that amendment is presented to them as soon as possible, they are flexible either way to present an application with or without the co-accused, or in a month's time, 6 weeks' time, or in 3 months' time. So they were very flexible on that, save for the parts where the state has to give them an indication when they can get that amended indictment. So the judge decided that, okay, it is a new defense team. They do need to familiarize themselves with the case, and they do need to present a proper application if they so wish, and they need to be given reasonable time, and has decided on the 3 months, and they will be appearing on the 16th of November. So, so they've been ordered to prepare and file their papers before then so that the court can consider this.
There is also that matter that they spoke about of the new affidavits that the state is in possession of the state, and the defense saying that they still need to see those affidavits, obviously, so that they're able then to compile or put together their application when they file it in court.
Yes, so the application is closely linked to the trial, so they would need to do proper preparation. If the state has new information and has new evidence, they would need to discover that, and they would need to, the defense would need to know what case they need to meet. So if the state has any new statements that might assist their case, they still need to let the defense know that this is the case that you are meeting, and that is what counsel for the co-accused was talking about.
I just want to briefly go back to, with regards to the application for the permanent stay of prosecution and some of the points that were made by Advocate Henlins there, speaking about charge delay, a trial delay, and the pre-trial irregularities. Are these going to be the grounds or the points that they're going to make in their application? And just take us through that when they file that application for a permanent stay of prosecution.
Okay, and so a permanent stay of prosecution means if that order is granted, the court is going to stay the prosecution, and it's going to be lifted when both parties are ready for trial. So then we do not set down a date for when the matter will start. That gives the defense enough time to prepare. So if they are going to make that application, they need to convince the courts and present to the courts reasons why they need to, apart from the fact that it's a new team, why they need to fix all these irregularities and meet for conferences with the state, so that anything that happened prior, which would have jeopardized the case of the accused, is attended to before these cases are presented.
The other matter was that around Mr. Zuma's finances, and we heard from Advocate Henlins that regardless of what happens in the other matter that has been brought forward by the DA and the EFF, in fact, he said to the judge, we are here to stay.
Yes, that is what senior counsel said today. You'll remember, Anda, that the application for a temporary stay was the reason why there was a postponement, because it was likely there's going to be a review of that decision. That possible review has been abandoned, and they said that the issue of fees is no longer an issue. So whatever the courts in Gauteng decides on the issue of the president paying his fees or not, this team has assured the courts, and as officers of the court, they have submitted to the court that they are going to stay regardless of whether the president has to pay his own fees or whether the court decides that the agreement with the states has to be honored.
Advocate, they spoke about, obviously this case has gone on for quite some time, 17-year period, which is quite a lot, and he even said that there is a large number of documents that are currently with the former president's former defense team that still needs to be brought over to the new team. But looking at that mountain of paperwork that they need to get, and earlier on we were speaking about some people saying that these are deliberate delays on the side of Mr. Zuma and his legal team. Your view on that 17 years worth of that should obviously mean that they would need quite some time.
Well, it all depends on the legal team. You will recall that counsel for the accused said that as it is right now, they are preparing a chronology. A chronology is where you go through all the papers and you date it from the first occurrence to the last. And if it's been 17 years, you can just guess how many things happened in a month, how many happened in 6 months. So preparing a chronology alone is probably going to take them a while. So then they have to read them properly, then they have to consider what to put in the application and then what to put in the trial if the application is dismissed. So it is safe to say that they do need an amount of time to prepare, and he has given an undertaking that they don't want to occasion more postponements. So they're given an undertaking that 3 months is enough, and the court has agreed.
The provisional date that has been agreed upon, the 30th of November, of course, the 16th of November will be for the permanent stay applications to be filed. But 30th of November, will this be the trial date?
Well, yes, it's a provisional date for the trial. But if the application is successful, then it will be stayed permanently until both parties are ready to proceed. But if the parties are not, if the accused are not successful, then that would be the dates, because that is what the order of the court is.
But there was also talk of sometime in the first quarter of next year that was raised by the defense. Probably, I guess, would that have been for the start of the actual trial?
That would be for the start of the actual trial, but you'll remember that as well as the application in itself is probably going to take a while because there are many presentations to be made, particularly if they're going to be presented for both accused. So it was saying it in two parts, that the application in itself is going to take time to be heard, and then a decision is going to have to be made. So it is possible that we are looking at next year. If the application is granted, then they are saying that we're looking at next year for the trial.
All right, Advocate Bonani, thank you so much for your time there. She's been with us from this morning, just sharing with us her legal expertise on this case. The date, 30th of November, we will be back here in court. That is the provisional date that the parties here, both the state and the defense, have agreed upon. And I guess on that day it will then be decided insofar as the applications for the permanent stay. Also, we still need to find out on that day insofar as accused number 2 being French arms company Thales. Their representative, Christine Gouria, she lives in France and travels from France to attend proceedings. She had been excused from today's proceedings, and her defense, they're representing that company, saying that they still need to be in contact with their clients about her possibly being here for that next appearance, and whether or not those two applications will be heard together. So a postponement, yes, but it had been expected to be a very brief appearance today, but certainly a lot coming out there from court with regards to this case against former President Jacob Zuma. I'm just looking across now at the Freedom Square, where the thousands of supporters of the former president have come from across the province of KwaZulu-Natal, as well as other provinces, as we've now seen whenever he appears, that crowds will gather in support. As I said, it started with that night vigil last night. Throughout the night, supporters were here. Once again, the march in the morning from Dales Park to where we are. A number of leaders as well from the ANC that are here to support the former president. There was those reports earlier on that the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal distanced itself from the president, and those claims refuted by the leadership of the ANC. And leading the ANC is the chairperson, the newly elected chairperson, Mr. Sihle Zikalala, who've said that they've always said that they will stand behind and will continuously support the former president. Of course, noting the decision that had been taken by the NEC, that those who do come out here do so in their personal capacity. But insofar as the members who are out here, they are saying that they are members of the ANC who've come out here to support a former president of the ANC, and vowing that even when the case does go to trial, that they will come out in their numbers on a daily basis until this matter is concluded. The proceedings there at the podium at the Freedom Park or Square have started. There are some speakers already speaking now, and we should be now going through to that a podium, or else at studio. It's back to you.
Viva! Viva President Jacob Zuma! Viva! Mandla! Viva RET! Viva! Viva Radical Economic Transformation! Viva! Comrades, my name is Uspelele Dando Zimande. Gimela, Jango Provincial Organizer, the Transform RSA. President, the Transform RSA, which is a civil society organization. But as Transform RSA, we want to say the following. One, the unfair prosecution, President Jacob Zuma. It is obvious, it is all because we stand up for Abantu South Africa on the ground, not for white monopoly. And comrades, I want to say this. The courts today, Abukeka is as a battlefield for political squabbles, and that must stop. But I want to pay a local comrades, and comrades, I want to say this. A white person and an Afrikaner fighting in public. Comrades, but comrades, we don't have a problem with white people. That must be said. We don't have a problem with white people, but we want umhlaba wethu ubuye. We want umhlaba mawubuye, amandla omnotho ubuye. But thina abantu abamnyama ngifuna ukusho lokho. Ukuze sikwazi ukuyiwina le mpi esiyilwayo, kumele sibumbane comrades. Ngaphandle ngeke. Njengoba nje ngibuzile ngathi kuyanganani ubona umuntu omhlophe no-Afrikaner belwa. Ingoba comrades, bona babeka ama-differences abo eceleni. Not that they don't have differences, they do have differences, comrades. But babeka ama-differences abo and fight for the common cause. And the common cause, comrades, it is RET, land expropriation without compensation. And we must unite so that we can win that fight. And Baba Ngamalala, Nukusha Lok, Angeke, Siklahle, Sikona la. When I'm going to win, but somebody respect. Oh, somebody say it's a goal. When we go to Sikona from London, Baba Sawa, melody, on the ground. And born a comrade, sipping at command down in support about. Manda!
Siyabonga ngizocela ukuthi bonke abazonika ama message of support khona uthi 1 minute ngizobenzela umusa kube 2 minutes. Ngikala stopwatch ngoba nasilindele ukuthi ubaba akhulume. Noma lingayolwandle icala soya khona. Siyakhona phakathi. Ngizocela message of support from BLF. Andile Mqithama.
Yabasabana. President Zuma, Kosi Ngamalala, and Nani Nonga Masocha with radical economic transformation. I just have a few messages. Tina besinga phakatheni kantolo sibonile ukuthi uma namhlanje bekuyibhola umdlalo webhola besizothi Msholozi 1, White Monopoly Capital 0. But because President Zuma is the president of the people, we say 1 for the people, 0 for White Monopoly Capital. You'll get the details, comrades. Akunatala la, President Zuma bayamsukela. Futhi nje sifuna ukubeka kahle uhulumeni ophethe manje. Siyacela abahlukane nomdeni kaPresident Zuma. Kuzwisa kabuhlungu thina masibona ingane kaPresident Zuma bayibopha benganalo igunya lokuthi bayibophe kodwa imigulugudu etshontshayo yabamhlophe bayayeka. Okwesibili khona abamhlophe la beAfriforum. Kunabamhlophe beAfriforum ababulala abantu bakithi emaplazini. Bagqireza abantu bethu. IAfriforum sengene ngaphakathi kwethu yasixova. Nge-23 sisegoli ngoba uDuduzane Zuma usegoli sizabe sikhona lapho. We want to send a message to Afriforum. Black people are very angry. And they told me to tell you, Afriforum, on the 23rd of August, if you come to run back, we shall deal with you as black people. Umsholo because of the BRICS. We are very angry also. We know enemies of BRICS. Our enemies of BRICS are part of BRICS. Siyazi ukuthi lapho ukuthi afuna ukuyichitha iBRICS. Msholozi, iBRICS is your legacy. We must defend BRICS, we must defend China, we must defend Russia because i-white monopoly capital ayifuni isithole imali ku-China ngoba bafuna sihambe siye ku-World Bank and IMF so that we become slaves. Phansi nge-World Bank phansi. Okokugcina babuBishop. Kunenkinga sinayo la. Kunalabafana baseParliament abagqoka impahla zabasebenzi. Kodwa mabazodla imali ngoJuly la bagqoka imali impahla noba ingubo zabongqowa. Here's the problem. Our parliament is captured by white monopoly capital. Khona umlungu okhohlakele kakhulu okuthiwa uAdriano Mazzotti, who is an Italian mafia. He is paying for these people to attack President Zuma and to attack RET. See, Blackfest, Landfest, Sasa. Listen, comrades, tomorrow Blackfest, Landfest is opening a case against Adriano Mazzotti of corruption, of money laundering, of cigarette smuggling, also of buying politicians tomorrow. Amanda.
Niyabasaba yini now? Siyayisaba yini Afroforum? Zuleka siyegoli manje khona liyicala eliseJoburg siyakhona phakathi. Sihamba ngetimela, sihamba ngamabhono siyobhala egoli. Makuthiwa kuse-Cape Town siye-Cape Town. Amandla! Amandla! Ake ngicele ozonikeza i-message of support from MKVA. Amasosha omkhonto ngifuna siwashayile ihlombe. Enza umsebenzi omkhulu namhlanje esisusa la siya eDales Park ebuya nathi eDales Park kwathula imigaqo waseMaritzburg kwalunguza abantu emaflatini beza abazosijoyina la uyaphila umkhonto wesizwe uyaphila siyabonga kakhulu ma comrades.
Viva Msholozi, viva! Long live Msholozi, long live! Long live justice! Long live the future of this people of South Africa who believe in justice. Comrade Msholozi, the leadership of the ANC from the province and national who is present here, all the other organizations who support us who's present here. I was asked a question yesterday by a journalist. Do you think that Comrade Nelson Mandela would have supported Comrade Jacob Zuma? And my answer was very simple. Comrade Nelson Mandela was a principled man who believed in justice, who understood the Constitution, and who knew that every citizen in this country is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So Msholozi, Madiba would have supported you. We know that, you know that. So comrades, as we are together here today, let us say to each other that the foundation of integrity is consistency. I know that the trials against Msholozi started 17 years ago. As I was sitting in that courtroom today, I recalled how myself and other comrades, including Comrade Des van Rooyen, was in 2005 at this very same place. We came to that very same court and we supported our president, we supported Comrade Jacob Zuma. But I couldn't help to be reminded, Msholozi, that there were also other comrades there. Among them, Comrade Bladen Zamande, and many others who are absent here today. What we are saying, comrades, is let us be consistent in our support for justice. Let us not be hypocritical, and let us not be fair weather friends. Because as I've said before, no soldier leaves another soldier behind on the battlefield. And that is why Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association is here in full force. That's why today I'm standing here in MK fatigues and many other comrades are here in their MK fatigues. Comrade Chair of the province, Comrade Zihle Zikalala, MKMPA want to encourage you with a decision that was taken at the provincial conference to approach the national executive of the ANC and to say that that very ill-conceived decision, to say that the structures of the ANC should not officially support Msholozi and come to court cases, must come to an end. We want to encourage all the structures of the ANC and all the various associations and leagues to support that particular position, which is a progressive position by the PEC of this province. And finally, comrades, let us recommit ourselves today again to radical economic transformation, to the expropriation of land without compensation, to make sure that Msholozi started also with the announcements around free education at a tertiary level will be pulled through so that every child in this country can truly have free education. Comrade, thank you for what you've done for us. Thank you for your life. And as I conclude, I want to extend on behalf of all of us here our sympathies to you with the passing away of your son a couple of weeks ago. Not all of us could be at the funeral, but in our hearts and in our minds, we were with you and your family, and we carried your loss with us. Amandla! Viva Msholozi, viva! Viva justice, viva! Viva radical economic transformation, viva! Viva the return of the land to the people, viva! Amandla!
Ayo, Carl. 5 minutes, Paul. Okay, ngizocela uNational Chairperson weKhosas 2 minutes.
Amandla awethu viva Khosas viva. No, comrades, I'm standing here on behalf of thousands of students who marched in 2015 and said, as young people of South Africa, we want free tertiary education. And when everyone came to us with big English words saying free tertiary education was not feasible, Comrade Msholozi was the only leader of the ANC who pronounced free tertiary education. Comrades, as young people, we are saying to Comrade President Msholozi that it is because of him that our young people from Orange Farm, from Alexandra, from the townships of Western Cape, from the townships of Northern Cape will be able to better their chances of getting job opportunities. And comrades, we also want to say to the President of South Africa, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, that as young people, we reject the youth employment service because we are saying that we are tired of being job seekers, but we want to be job creators. Comrades, we can no longer agree that the students who attend private schools, the white kids, are being taught to become CEOs, are being taught to become CFOs, but those of us who come from public schools are being subjected to working in mines. As young people, we can no longer support that. And we are saying to Comrade Msholozi, we are going to continue supporting him. And we also want him to support us in our struggle to say we no longer want private schools. We want a uniform education system whereby children of the rich will receive the same education with the children of the poor. We are saying to those politicians of the ANC, if their children are attending private schools, they must take them to public schools. We are calling for an education system that is going to ensure that all young people, whether poor or rich, receive the same equal opportunities. Amandla, away too.
Ayakhuluma ngani? Hey, wakhuluma ngani? Amandla, viva Khosas, viva. Sangizocela ukuthi ngicela ubaba Shezi RT eze nginikeza 2 minutes emva kwalokho ngizocela 2 minutes.
Mandla awethu ngiyabingelela kwi-leadership. Greetings to the leadership behind me. Kubaba uNxamalala uMsholozi, our special greetings on behalf of the RET champion. Comrades, ours is to constantly remind you ukuthi sila namhlanje just because ubaba uMsholozi stood and stand for land expropriation without compensation. Comrades, we are here today. We must be reminded ukuthi kwi-media we've been flooded by messages that Baba Msholozi has lost support in KZN and nobody is going to come to support Baba Msholozi. But we are here to say we stand with Baba Zuma. And we are going to stand with Baba Zuma whether the media recognize us or they don't. Because we are not doing Baba Zuma a favor by standing with him. But we are standing with Baba Zuma because we know that Baba Zuma stands for what we stand for. We stand with Baba Zuma because we know that he believes that black business must be given tenders in government. We stand with Baba Zuma because he recognized the inequalities and disparities of our economy. 97% of companies listed in Johannesburg Stock Exchange even today
They are still white-owned. And we are saying it cannot be in South Africa, our land, that Abelungu own the means of production. They also own our land. We are also standing to support any black person that is being persecuted. And we are standing in solidarity with Ngonyama. We are standing in solidarity with Ututuzani. We are saying we want freedom for Tutuzani. Because it cannot be our ministers, their children are doing business with government, and it's normal. How come Ututuzani are treated ngayo? And as the masses of our people, we cannot fold our arms. We are going to take over, and we are going to push the white monopoly capital back. Amandla! Long live the spirit of no surrender, long live. Awubuye umhlaba wethu, awubuye. Hands off, President Jacob Zuma, hands off. Qina mntomnyama uzonqoba, qina.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Sengizocela ukuthi okay, ngicela ukuthi sicorrecte okade ekhuluma la former president weKhosas. I want to correct that. Ukuthi former president weKhosas. Ukuze kungabi kahle. Unathanda ukhume ehlweleni. So ikhuluma eminyango leyo. Okay, sizocela ukuthi sibonga kakhulu ama comrades afike ekseni nafika izolo ebusuku from Limpopo. Comrade Fistos, thank you, comrade. Just give us one word of support.
Amandla. Amandla. We want to send a message to those people who are saying Comrade Mhlolozi is supported by Zulus. We are coming from Madimbo village. It's the second village from Zimbabwe. We drive away from that place to come and support Comrade Zuma. Comrade Zuma in Chivenda, Varimu Mwana Alatiwinga Pad. I don't know how to pronounce it by English because I'm an African. But we will always support you, Comrade Mhlolozi. We will always support you even whether people they like it or not. We are going to support him because he fought for this democracy. People that don't know Comrade Zuma fought for this democracy. So we really, really want to thank you for what you have done to us as South Africans. So we are going to come here even on the 30th of November. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they told us about the 30th of November. We are many people who are coming from Limpopo. So we will always support him, and we are always pray for you, and we know God is always be with you. We will always support Comrade Mhlolozi. We will always pray for him to be outside of this thing of court. Even they was put him in jail. We were going to visit him inside the jail. Agri in prisoners, there is an hour visitors, if I'm not mistaken. We were going to visit him inside the prisoner. Thank you very much, Comrade Program Director. Thank you.
Nda. Goribu. Awukada agcwele amavenda la. Khona noSibaru wami la. uComrade uFaith Mthambi. Siyabonga kakhulu Comrade Faith. You are always here. Nino Comrade Des van Rooyen. You are always with us here. Siyabonga kakhulu. Angwazi lamanye ama ministers nababa ministers utbaphi. Kodwa ke angibazi. Kusho mina kusho ngomunye ukuthi angibazi ngeke ngibabheke baphi. Baphi asibazi. Okay, sengizocela ikhulume embili ezolandela. Ngizocela ubaba Mishek Hadebe umkhumbi kube khona sokusho. Okay, emva kwalokho ngiyocela uhlalo weprovince uyena ozolandela ukhuzini. Kuze siyabonga kakhulu. Okay, ayinilinde kancane, linda. Siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi laba babhalayo hayi bonke. Kade bebhala amanga ngawe. Bathi wena uthe. Omunye wabo mhlawumbe ukhona la kodwa ngeke ngisamkhoma. Khona intatheli ezibhala amanga. Wabhala amanga wathi ukhuzeni uthe akamsupport umsholozi. Wabhala amanga. Manje intatheli ezi-right zonke la zibhala kahle. So ke siyathanda ukucacisa amaqabane ngibonile sibhala yonke indawo ubebhale amanga. Ngeke ngimbize ngegama ngoba uzongihlasela nama ngibhala. Kodwa kade yena ngibhala nami. Ayikho inkinga sibhaleni. Ningakhohlwa ufaka isithombe manibhala. Abantu bayakhohlwa into ebhalile kodwa isithombe basibona. Amandla. Siyaya. 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 No maguli kunibo. Siyaya. Siyaya. No mabesi dubula. Besbulala. Bekamba manga. No mabesi dubula. Besechuga. Bekamba manga. No maguli kunibo. Pemshelozi. Siyaya. No maguli kunibo. Wengamalala. Siyaya. No mabesi tubula. Besechuga. Bekamba manga. Manja! Manja! Pansi namakhoki pansi! Pansi namagwala pansi! Manja! Ngamalala. Abezitha ngamalala wangapha ngasempendla undaba ezitha wasenkandla. Ungamalala former mengameli wethu. Insizwe engiyaziyo. Khona into esibuye sibake kodwa sicaca manje sobabili. Usihlalo we-ANC babuzikalana and brand new PEC ekhona. Want to say congratulations. Ukhethiwe in 4 or 5 days ikhethiwe. We welcome the new PEC and want to say we will always be behind you. No ngifuna ucorrect into encane nje la comrades. Asilalelane. Siyacela ukuthi wonke umuntu ozala eze ngalento yabefundisi yokuzothandazela ubaba umsholozi. Ngoba asifuni umsebenzi ongaka agcina umsebenzi esetshenziswa njengensika ukubambelela kuyena. Abantu bezela kanti banenye agenda esingenayo thina. Ngikusho lokho ngoba sengimdala ngicama umuntu omdala ukhuluma noma yini. Akasabi. So we are saying wonke umuntu ozala akukhulume into eyakha not ukuthi umuntu ezela kusasa yambona useqhamuse yenye into aseyisho bese kuthiwa umuntu kaZuma. Siyacela nje abefundisa benze bazosikhulekela sizesosa abantu umsholozi. Mangifuna ukwaqamba ibandla lami ngiphume nje woqamba ibandla lekude. Ngingayisondezile bese saza ngoqamba ibandla lebesonto. I want to correct that because yasihlupha kancane leyo nto. Sixoxe nomfundisi uNgcobo izolo umbishop. Okugcina cha nqaba lasikhona nje. Asabumuntu asina livalo ngathi ngiyaphinda. Angaze mina ngibe yimember ye-ANC kaMandela. NekaMbeki, nekaZuma, nekaLamaphosa. Ngiyimember ye-ANC afukona ma eyami decision, political decision engiyithathayo angiyona imember yomuntu. Sinalezi inkinga because abantu bayimember zabantu manje. Abantu bayimkhovu manje.
abantu kuthakathwa ngabo manje ake sibe members kakhongolose madoda ngithula ke la kuthiwa ngizolandela osihlalo insizwa umnakwethu umfazi kalala but ngifuna ukuqinisakisa nqamalala ukuthi ngesikhathi silapha ekhaya sibeka indodana wakho sifisa ukumbonga umengameli uRamaphosa ngesikhathi ekwadukuza eyolontsha uThumamini wacela umhlangano uphakame uhloniphe uzotshe ukubekwa komntwana wakho but ikhonto yangidisturb emva kwalokho omunye we-leadership ye-alliance same day uNcamalenzi wabe ingane yakhe wayemthuka kwi-TV same day uphi ubuntu it's a national leader it's insulting umuntu obeka ingane yakho ehlibhokisi liyade uyamthuka kwi-TV we took exception lezo zinto enjalo so comrade angithula usihlalo ubaba uSihle Zikalala a brand new chairperson we-ANC viva Zikalala viva viva Zikalala viva
Try and tell funeral plans.
It's your final gift of love.
I chose a clientele funeral plan because it's affordable and suits my budget.
I chose clientele because they are...
Masibingelele konda bezitha amakhosi akhona Nkosi yakwaNcamalala khona le kandla nenkosi yakwaNcamalala khona la konda bezitha siyabingelela namanye amakhosi akhona sibingelele kubefundisi bonke sibingelele kuboli bonke obukhona kuyo zonke inhlaka silana namuhla ukuzosupporta former President Jacob Zuma kukhona ke labo abayitshena ukuthi ngelinye ilanga bayombona ehamba yedwa elahlwe yiwo wonke umuntu sifuna ukuthi kuboke cha angeke kwaba njalo they are writing stories bengasibuzanga ngisho ukusibuza bathathe enye interview oyenzile ekliye ukhuluma babhala wabamanga sithi sasila ngo-2005 sasiminaye uformer President Zuma sasinaye futhi ngo-2006 up until uJudge Kadusizi Msimanga wasitshena ukuthi ayikho le case wasitshena uMsimanga wayichitha wayivala sithi ke futhi sizoqhubeka supporte uformer President Zuma uma ebuya sizobe sekhona la ngomhla ka-30 nangaleso sikhathi kwasithusa ukuthi kwakufikekiwe enkantolo kuthiwe hayi ama-charges akakapheleli kubuye kubuyelwe futhi kuthiwa akakapheleli nanamuhla 17 years later basachibiyela siya-eda lokhu si-eda lokhu si-eda lokhu sithi sifuna a fair trial without undermining umthetho sithi uformer President Zuma unesupport yethu njengabantu bakwaZulu-Natal ukuza kwethu la undermine i-ANC ama-decisions e-ANC siyawazi size njengathi uqobo lwethu okwangaphakathi siyoxoxa ngaphakathi sizothi simi noNcamalala ngemsebenzi yakhe emihle ayenzela isizwe ukulwela inkululeko yabantu uqeda ukubhubha kwabantu ababebulawa yi-HIV wayekhona ephambili enikeza abantu ama-ARVs uyena othengisha ingane ehluphekileyo
ezalwa umuntu ongenalutho ayiye university ngaphandle kokukhokha. Yileyo ke into esikhanda size la. Viva Nxamalala, viva! Viva Nxamalala, viva! Mandla! Uthiwe sizobiza imbongi ezosukumisela uformer president ukedlehlekisa Jacob Zuma ozokhuluma nathi manje asibize imbongi ize kaphambili. Kofi ebheceka iphuzu emnqolo kuphela phuhlubana siyesutha siyamthokozela uthokozela kunene obekhole ezindlukana ndlela ephuma kwakhongolo siqonde efukwini kumalema umkhuzelo kanamlomo njengenkukhu inqunyiwe noma kude umfunzana wabathembu uyokwenzani ugaca ekhanda kumongameli siqukwane siyabile seqhwayita uhlofo onukela unzipho kwezekhosato anyakaza amadlela ndawonye thatha Democratic Alliance izinto engenamgogodla njengemsundu umsholozi kazildi hemfe ihumzelayo wesabi bebevane dlela inenzobe ibheke mangawunga ibingemkanto nzima ububheke pholokwane umphosela nselelo adina yoncindeza kubithe ngezikwancamalala kathi ubayokhothwa ibhube sasendinkulu kuze sisuza amadodana phelikiqi sithi sesaphela isishimane simehlaphe jile kwenza sebeka izandla kwaphela izigidi kwaphela inkulungwane minqolo lihlupha ngokuzona izinto ikhwezeleni inxaqa phezu kwamalunda izwe lawabona amanye lenyoka isidlakala siyagadla siyakhwifa saqa simelele ey'thweni azonda amakhanda phezulu emazweni azigamba lukapondo umlozo inkomo zephakethe isawuphendula ukhongolo sisiquse sifihlisa lukhamba lwephehlelo lomdlala mgojela usadam useyikona se-iraki lamdlala mgojela uma umagadafu kwelaselibhe lumqubhe phansi isihlalo sikhona uhos mubarak kwelasegibhini mlosemlonyeni kumakhashula yawo kuyaluma kayinasi isibiba heka amasineka xamalalalela naba bekumemeza bakumemeza bekhwishiza ethafeni bakumemezana sekusithekeni ngebhodi bethi babu iphinde umpehla imaze egodlayo umkedulo wehlanzane nokhwethu mafaka nifukana zothela negwaleni abangakini amagwala efana nozuma ugodwa lumhlophe nobuthi ubhubalo ezinye zimnyama iqaqela amakankane isihlenge esihlenga abantu bayiwela imangawunga imadwala abushelelezi kuwela usere maphosa bashalela abanye bamiza kwawela ugwethematashe bashalela abanye bamiza kwawela ubaleka mbethi bashalela abanye bamiza kwawela ngisho uzwela imkhize bashalela abanye bamiza ngewawela ngisho ujesithi wadi ibhubesi kakhongolose esihlalela qoshama unozile kuqhakela isigqiki sikhona umthetho ukhongolose umphakamisele phezulu ngebhodi sililo soguquko simbongoze ngomlomo mbonganye lona nesemakhaleni ey'fundazweni lamcakala mqukuza ukhaseli mothali oseleneka izandla yedwana idwala semqangini kubagijima lihleze libakhubo somathuba khuzula thimbaletshe yasemangawunga yabhakazeka yenaba wayiphuthuma wayithithi thuthulu ncamalala khuzula thimbaletshe yaselimpopo yabhakazeka yenaba wayiphuthuma wayithithi thuthulu mkhubaso wedlanzalala sentshonalanga kapha labhakazeka lenaba waliphuthuma wayolithithi thuthulu mbohliswe gidigidi laseGauteng zawube sengesegu buyele emuva esejekezela umsingo ozikisa imkhumbe pholokwane namanje sazike phansi ngezike esiqeni sebhodlela dumakhanda nkomo eyaliwe endalini suduka nazi ikhukhulu ungazuyidonsa uqanda katotololo isikotho esibhidisa amasimu zalala ngamazi ichumo zenyamazane yakithi kwakhongolose umkanganiselwa qonywe ukwedlula abashelelwayo ngathi ukusuma komntwana kusemathangeni kunina siphundu usinodaka hezengwembu umkathulwa usiniswa isikhane emathangeni ukuhle kweqopho nogabisela inkawu ngogabalepe ulikhiphe walifaka emlonyeni siyolala sitafuni isithole senkosi umdlukuziswa kanambona ngicokofula babaphathi nokuphawula bamhleza ithendeni abayigqobela udumo umsusi wasidumo ngishependle bayamazi ingabafu yensizwa emzimbukatha hayikhanyezaniswa kuchitheka kwanyonga hlekolosu nesibindi wayithinta isinja wayithinta imgotho yemnyekwana kulule emyefefefezelayo ntoye ngulathimba ley'nkawu ziyawuba ngicekisa kwadaka ugange olume ngentamo enhloko omuzi kwakhanyile engaganeni wahluleka ukuqela kuhelenzini kanti zababili zawuphela eminyakanye londwa yiza shaya indingilizana mlandisindwaba unkosikazi ongena ngobhawuti ahlola abalobokazi kwazuma bengena ngomnyama mlecelekane uhlola amanxuluma la kwahlela ngakhona iy'gobhe zakhona wayihlola watholani mithi yo-PJ Foster wayihlola watholani mithi yo-PW Potter wasuzani kwayo-FW de Klerk fusha kuyayiwela kungamadabukela nqamalala shiya abantu bekhala ngabodwana kuthoka enhlanye ukahlengo mehluleni uDennis Davis enkantolo entshonalanga kapa ngithanda ukuzomgobagqakwa sigqakwa isidomoza simlomo ubovu athi amabhunu sephula mphefumulo kalindiwe mazibuko sabuya ngamakhala ibiliboco ze-Democratic Alliance nongaba zithethe sibuholi bukazuma wayebuthola emqulweni kunyongo
Amandla. 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 Angilithandile lelokugcina. Hayi wathola kunyoko. Ya. Hey. Le Rumo. On the stage, Le Rumo. Izothi 1. Bese emva kalokho ke sidedela one and only the former president. So celile room ukuthi ingashayi kakhulu la. 1 2. Nasekuseni ngibonile singaze sibhodloza the stage sicheckiwe.
Shona malanga shona malanga. Shona malanga. Shona malanga.
Amandla. Akasicele ke one and only our former president. Madoda. Mfana omncane omlungu. Awuthi qaphu. Nangu mfana omncane omlungu.
Viva Jacob Zuma! Viva! Long live the spirit of Jacob Zuma! I'm Comrade Jacob Zuma from Sekakuni, Limpopo. We are fully behind Comrade Jacob Zuma. He's our father of RET. He's our president. And he shall remain our president. We are fully behind Jacob Zuma. We have come with 3 buses from Sekakuni to come and support. We have come with our REC leadership, Comrade David Clady, and Comrade Maritlaba. And we are fully behind Jacob Zuma.
Amanda. Say, Kiman Naba, say, Kiman Naba, say, Kiman Naba, say, Kiman Naba, Sinsizwa, Tanagiti, Enakula Nazo. Saying Tiwa, Sinsizwa. Saying Tiwa, Sinsizwa. Sinsizwa, Tanagiti, Enakula Nazo. Saying Kiman Naba, Sinsizwa. Saying Kiman Naba, Sinsizwa. Sinsizwa, Tanagiti, Enakula Nazo. Saying Kiman Naba, Sinsizwa. Saying Kiman Naba, Sinsizwa. Sinsizwa, Tanagiti, Enakula Nazo. Yabo. Angibonge mphathi wohlelo Baba Bishop uDube. Amakhosi akancamalala amabili akhona kanye nathi emela umndeni wonke. Abaholi abaqhamuka ku-national bakakhongolose ey'gabeni zonke nabo bonke abakhona engeke ngababala ngibaqede nabaqhamuka kwezinye inhlangano esenibezwile bekhuluma la. Usihlalo weprovince yaKwaZulu-Natal ubaba uKhuzeni kanye nabaholi bonke besifundazwe abasanda ukukhethwa. Nathi sonke ke esizile ukuzolalela ukusekela lo obekwa amacala. Abafundisi bami, obishop nabefundisi, ngibonge kakhulu umthandazo, ngibonge nenkulumo yenu ethi njengabantwana nezithunywa zikaNkulunkulu anikhethi abantu, nikhulekela noma ubani. Siwaze njalo kamakhola. Mphathi wohlelo isaphethwe umkhuhlane awukapheli. Angizukusho into eziningi ngoba koze kuphela izwi.
zosho sibembalwa nje maqondana necala njengoba besizovela lapha nje eMgungundlovu ijaji ngenkathi sivele eThekwini lathi lizothutha icala lize la sivelile ke namhlanje aliqalanga ngo9 njengesijwayezi zela qala ngo10 kuyacaca ukuthi ijaji nabashushisi nabameli bebesalumana indlebe ngokuthile siye sangena ke kuleli cala selibuya isibili lapha eMgungundlovu la kuchithwa kabili amajaji amabili ujaji ongasekho ubaba uThabizolo umsimane owathi liyaxhuka leli cala lihamba lichukela wakusho yena kwakungasho mina laphinda futhi lachithwa omunye ujaji uNicholson owathi linongwe laxutshwa nepolitiki kodwa lisabuyile ngemva kweminyaka eminingi lisabuyile uyabona umuntu ukuthiwe usenkantolo icala liphele liqedwe libuyiswe futhi liphinde liqedwe linyamalale shona emahlathini liphinde liqhamuke futhi njengoba sekuqhamukile nje leli cala lipheli hlale likhona namhlanje na ke inkulumo bekhona ngaphakathi umshushisi okuyena ophethe icala uthe sebedlane indlebe yena ufisa ukuthi iqhubeke icala ngoba uready manje ukuthi alethe ubufakazi bokuqhuba icala kodwa futhi khona esho njalo wayesethi kusenelinye icala icharge azoyibeka uaccused number 2 inkampani ama French le lokho kusho ukuthi indictment ayikapheleli kodwa abe ethi uselungile ukuthi langaliqhuba icala yena ke ubethi mahlehla namhlanje alihlehli inyanga o amasonto amane noma ayisithupha nginabameli ke engihamba nabo manje insizwa nje ezintsha ekade zingekho seliphethwe ngisho umphathi walo lokuthiwa iAtheni Musha kukhona abameli abakhulu labo kuthiwa babizwa ngamagama amakhulu noma ngwazi kuthiwa yini ha senior counsel yabona kunama rank lapha kubameli ngoba nomunye uzokuthiwa ujunior ukhansela kodwa ujunior omunye ukhansela naye kodwa usenior yabona ukuthi nama rank la njengo general no no deputy general sebetheke ngoba leli cala sekudala likhona neminyaka eyisithupha lineminyaka eyishumi neminyaka esikhombisa bathena ke basafuna ukuthi badlale manje bafuna leli cala ukubhekana nalongqo babuka wonke into eyabhalwa kuqala bathi leli cala akulona icala osungathi uma ubeka umuntu uthi wenza ubulungisa ngamanye amagama lento okuthiwa ijustice ne-fairness alukwazi icala ukuthatha isikhathi eside kangaka ngokomthetho bathi mabekhuluma nami kunegama lesingisi abathi liyasetshenziswa kuthiwa ni law delayed ngani ngifuna ifundiswa zingitshela justice is justice okay justice delayed is justice denied kusho ukuthi uma ungalisheshisa icala umuntu ulithethwe ulibazise ufana nokuthi awulithethanga lelo cala ngokomthetho bafuna ukuthi manje beze kule nkantolo bazobeka ukuthi aliphele leli cala lingathethwa bebesho njalo namhlanje kodwa bazobeka izizathu ukuthi yini besho njalo bayazilungisa ke lezo zizathu baceleke inkantolo ukuthi ihlehlisa icala libuye ekupheleni kaNovember bese bezobeka izizathu ukuthi yini leli cala lingeke labenza ukulungisa manje kufanele kuba liphele bathi kunezinto eziningi ezonakala kuleli cala abashushisi nabasesho kuyibona babephenya icala bathi lezo zizathu bafuna ukuzibeka ukuthi awukwazi ukuthi leli cala ungaqhubeka nalo manje kufanele ukuthi liphele lingaphindi libe khona uke kwaphikiswana ke ngoba umshushisi ubethi yena ulungile manje ukuthi angalithetha leli cala base kuthiwa hawu ngoba uthi awukaqedi ukubeka ama charges kusho kanjani ukuthi ulungile kusho ukuthi ukhuluma iphikisi futhi uma kubukeka kunama document amaningi ofana ukuthi abhekwe abameli bafike bathi namhlanje sebeyiyekile nalento esasiyisho eThekwini yokuthi isinqumo sikamshushisi omkhulu asisiwe kwi-review bathi asafuna ukuthi li-review siya straight ekutheni alikho leli cala kwathiwa ke ijaji lathi no livumelana nabameli ukuthi abanike ithuba lokulungisa bazobeka phambi kwenkantolo ukuthi alingabe lisathethwa ngoba likho kwase kuvunyelwa nako ukuthi sizobuya ngoNovember abameli bezothula lawo maqiniso ukuthi leli cala uma lingathethwa alisekho fair kulabo ababekicala bayathemba abameli ukuthi bazoluwina leso sigaba noma kanjani liphele leli cala. Ngiyathemba nje nani manikhumbula ukuthi ngenkathi ngibeka leli cala ngangise Deputy President. Ngavele enkantolo lathethwa amajaji ahlukahlukene layobukezwa eBloemfontein laze laphinde lawubukeza eBramfontein. Laphela lakhethwa njengomongameli. Ngamongameli impela ngaliphathizwe kuthi icala liphelile. Kinele ngaphuma nje kwathiwa livuswe lecala. Lavuswa futhi. Labameli ke engibaphethe manje ngoba lo ayekade khona ubaba uCamp uthathe usethatha umhlala phansi njengoba lo nyaka uphela nje. Kanti ngithi ake ngilethe lezi ingwayingwayi asihleki azinasikhathi sokuhleka nalicala hayi ukuthi ziyalesaba kodwa zithi akukho fair ukuthi liqhubeke lecala kodwa uma belifuna bazoliphephetha lishonele kude nalo qobo. Akwandile uthi mhlambe wawuse Cape Town wenze ezinye izinto kone abantu eGoli labo bantu bangabekwa amacala kuthiwe bona bamsulwa ulandwe leKapa kuthiwe wena unecala wawukhona makuxoxola izinto kodwa wawungekho. Namanje bengithi ngiyoke ngibone impela ekugcineni ukuthi ubani uyofakaza ethi ngangikhona makuxoxwa ngalezi ikhaya. Bengilifuna ngempela. Ufuna ukuzwa ukuthi ubani ozothi ngangikhona. Apha ama minute athi ngangikhona. Ngaphawula ngathini. Kodwa kabameli bathi alivele likhahlelo nje alikho. Kusho ukuthi ke sesiyobuya ngoNovember ngoba bazobe bezobeka kusho ukuthi ukuthethwa kwalo ukuvuthwe sokuyoba kulonyaka ozama oqala bashilo nawo lapho ke kobe sokubonakala ukuthi sihamba siphelela phi na. Ngitheke anginibeke nje kuleso sithombe ngoba kubalekile ukuthi lesithombe sibe naso. Ngifuna ke ngiphinde futhi namhlanje nginibonge nonke ngokuthi nenza into enhle ebonakalisa ukuthi ninobulungisa nina nje ukusukela kubefundisi abakubeke kwacaca lapho ukuthi ngeke basale ngemumva bangasupporti umuntu obekwa icala ngoba umthetho wala uthi uma ubekwe icala akusho ukuthi unecala ngaphandle kuba inkantolo kube yona esho njalo noma ikhiphe phambili. Ufuna ukubabonga befundisi ngoba bese kuthanda ukonakala kulelizwe busuthanda ukuzwa befundisa abanye sebekhuluma into ekwenza ukuthi uma umuntu nje ubona ukuthi no lo mfundisi uma ishumayela esontweni sengingadlula ngaphandle ngingangeni kwelakhe isonto ngoba usekhuluma ipolitiki kuyagxekwana ebukholweni kuyathandazelwana kuyaboniswana njalo njalo ufuna ukubabonga befundisi kakhulu ukuthi babe nesibindi noma sebehlasela ngeke ngisho babahlaselwa wobani ngoba bekho lapha labo bantu ababahlaselayo abekho angithi abekho ngifuna futhi ukubonga zonke inhlangano ezibakhona la nabantu bakaKhongolose njengoba sebeshila ukuthi babe la nangenkathi sivela ngale minyaka njalo nje nginibonge kakhulu nonke nje ngoba nibonisa ukuthi eSouth Africa akekho umuntu ongabanjwa amabhubesi nje ambulala abantu bekhona uma kukhona umuntu osukelwayo isizwe siyasukuma sikuphinde lokhu nanini angabibikho umuntu ozohlushwa ngoba mhlambe yena eyintandane noma engenabangani abathile ababalulekileyo njalo njalo lokho enikwenzayo nikwenzela ukuthi noma ubani eSouth Africa uma umthetho ubonakala ukuthi uyaxega nina niyosukuma nimvikele umuntu ilento kokuthiwa umbuso wabantu ukuthi kubhalwa kuthiweni kukhulunywa kuthiweni thina siphuma ngobuningi bethu sikhulume ngezwi lethu yanibonga yabonisa ukuthi ningabantu base South Africa abaziyo ukuthi iSouth Africa siyakhululeka kusesona lesasikhathi lapho kwakuboshwa abantu beboshwa ubandlululo kungabi indaba zalutho namhlanje nifuna umthetho uhambe ngendlela efaneleyo ngibonga kakhulu ningenza ngizizwe ukuthi amandla okulwela inkululeko achitheka ngaphansi abavikeli benkululeko bakhona nina lapha nginibonga kakhulu bakwethu impela sengathi lendlela yokwenza izinto ingakhula kakhulu eSouth Africa sivikeleke sonke angabe bikho umuntu oyokwenziwa isilo sengubo ngoba eyedwa nje noma ngoba mhlawumbe edeleleka phela sokonakala manje ngisho insizwa isashayana usudelelwa nje nayo into ungazi nje ukuthi we babo kazi lona ubanikele kusashayana wangadelelwana nje ngoba wamshaya umuntu hayi ugebengu shaye nje kahle ilanga libaleka azi ukuthi uma ekudelela uzozwa into ebuhlungu asivikeke ngamandla obuningi bethu sisupporta sisekela umthetho ngifuna ukunibonga kakhulu ngifuna ukubonga kakhulu ama-comrade ami abaholi la ngoba bakwazile ukuthi balethe isupport ngokuhlonipha kahle futhi baba nembandela abayibekayo ngenkathi kubekwa eminye imbandela engeke ngisho ngibonga kakhulu comrade nonke nje ngothilweni njengoba nithi noba nami kuyoze kube sekugcineni nami ngoba nani kuze kube sekugcineni Sangayixoxa le ndaba yaleli icala seladlula. Uthi lake la khona icala lesimanga. Elaqeda ishumi leminyaka neminyaka esikhombisa. Lineyinqumo eziningi phakathi. Lisuswa, libuyiswa, lisuswa, libuyiswa. Wayibona le ndaba? Ngithi angibongele, ngiyazi ukuthi bekubanda kakhulu ebusuku. Kodwa benikhona nizobonisa ubuqiniso benu ukuthi noma ubani niyomvikela. Ukuthi izwe kufanele ukuba liphathwe ngendlela. Kungathi abahluphekayo bahlushwe. Nemiyalezo ke ngizwile ikhulunywa la. Njengoba ihlala ikhulunywa, ngiyayibonga. Uyabonga nomndeni bakwethu. Niqine, nibe namandla. Mina ngiqinile nje. Uyangibona nje. Angikho ntekenteke. Qina impela. Futhi ngiyazi ukuthi ngikhonelani la emhlabeni. Angidukile. Ngiyolo ngikhona nje. Ngizwe umfundisi omunye sengathi bengimuzwa kwi-radio engicelela ukuthi angodedelwa ngikhankase. Hayi angidingi ukucela. Ukhankasa into yami. Akekho futhi umuntu ozongivimba. Ngoba phela ngiyilungu lombutho. Nginelungelo eligcwele elithe swi. Ngomunye ufuna ukuthi ANC iwine ngamalengisi. Kubalulekile ukuthi sikwazi lokho ikakhulu indle emnyama. Ngoba ziningi izinto ekufuna ukuthi sizilungise. Zifunani ke? Zifuna amavoti amaningi. Ngizoyisho lento sasikade sino 2/3 wamavoti. Asehla manje, ngaze ehla kanjani. Sifuna ngifuna ukuthi sibuyise i2/3. Ngoba nge2/3 singashintsha izinto eziningi ezingashintsheki manje. Ngizwile ngomana lapha ngikutshene kuthiwa kukhona abathi uma sesifika okhethweni fanele ukuthi ama% ubuningi bamavoti ethu behle kube ngaphansi kwa50. Ikhona sizophoqeka ukuthi singene ko-coalition government ukuze singakwazi ukuimplementa ama-policies ethu. Hey, angiyifuneke lento ukukhona abantu abathi hayi nje mina ngithukuthele ngeke ngivote. Uzobuwena osicindezelayo. Kufuneka i2/3 ukuze sishintshe izinto. Akeke ngitshena enye yezinto engicabanga ukuthi kufanele besishintshe. Uyabona lento okuthiwa idemocracy ngesintu kuthiwa umbuso weningi. Kusho ukuthi abantu abaningi ibona ababusayo. Thina senze idemocracy yethu yabona idemocracy isho ukuthi abantu abaningi uma bevotile baqedile. Thina sathi sifuna i-constitutional democracy. Niyangizwa kahle? Sangenza lento ejwayelekile kwezinye indawo kuba i-parliamentary democracy. Sasibopha ngamaketanga. Ingakho nje ngisho iParliamente labantu abasimeleyo lapha abakwazi ukuthatha isinqumo kube sokugcina. Kufanele leso sinqumo siye emajajini. Uma amajaji ethi no, si wrong lesinqumo senu. In le constitutional democracy. ngeke nje uthathe isinqumo ufuneke isinqumo sakho mawusithatha siyahambisana yini neconstitution awukuhle lokho siyakusho kodwa ngithi washintsha ifundamental principle yedemocracy ukuthi iparlamente iparty ekuyona enkulu kunamanye eparlamente makuthatha isinqumo siyasebenza parliamentary democracy ngezathu nje ngeke ngizisho manje ngoba kusuke ukukhala abantu uyabona ngithi uma isinqumo sithathwe ijaji akulula uthi leso sinqumo asisaphikiseki sesime nje ngoba uma uyithatha ijaji lenkantolo ulisa kwinkantolo engenhla kuvamile ukuthi inkantolo engenhla ithi leli jaji lenza iphutha uyayibona lonto kusho ukuthi kuyenzeka ukuthi ngesinye isikhathi judgment yejaji ingabi right manje uma kufuneka ukuthi njalo nje uma sekuthathwa isinqumo noma abantu bangathini hayi siyanizwa nje kodwa mina njengejaji ngithi niyabheda uyabona ndaba ngikhuluma iqiniso impela mina iqiniso ngiyalithanda ukuthi sisayinida imajority ukulungisa izinto esingakalungi siyezwana sanike ukutshena abantu ukuthi ngoba sithukuthele thina ngeke sivote ngoba simfuna ubani ngeke sivote kurong ukusho njalo uzozigqiba emgodini ngokwakho kufuneka sivote ngobuningi sibuyise i2/3 ukuze sisebenzise ukulungisa izinto ezonakeleyo bize yodwa nje lenhle esithandayo constitutional democracy awibuke in practice because it's not parliamentary democracy. Parliamentary democracy noma kuliphizo mase ikhuluma iparlament akekho phinda khuluma lapha uthi uyiningi unombono wakho ufe nawo kusho ukuthi ngame magama without realizing uyayicindezela idemocracy niyangizwa uyabona nje lento engizwa abantu ukuthi ngoba mhlamba bathandi mina noma bathandi bani ngeke nje ngivote mina ngeke khona indoda lapha abanye babathi sifuna uvotela umgqithama thina uright umgqithama akanankinga right kodwa hayi ngalezi izathu enibekayo i clear political line le akwazi ungavoteli udedela abantu bavote into wrong siyezwana nivotele ndoni ngayeki ngoba ifuna ukubuyisa izinto ngokusheshsha la sheshe sibuye siyazwana ngifuna ukuthi mina i-unity yabantu abamnyama eSouth Africa is a key to solve our problems. Our disunity ukuthi silwe nje isifo esimbi esenza ukuthi sihluphe kunomphela. Ushilo omunye la wathi sithanda ukulwa sodwa awungathi zabulawa ngathi khona ophehla amanzi amnyama hayi nje lamanzi amnyama ngifuna ukuthi le support le ngikuze ngijabulele akube isupport ezobonakala ngamavoti ke manje sesivotela ukuthi sifuna ukulungisa izinto ayikagcwali inkululeko isashoda uma sisene political power singenayo economic power yini le ungayichaza ukuthi kufuneka ukuthi uyoncenga abantu ukuthi awu sorry ake nisincede bakwethu. Hayi. Iqiniso kufanele beqiniso nje. Siyezwana? Bengikhuluma nabanye abaholi base-Afrika. Ngithi thina abantu base-Afrika sisimanga. Sike sithatha into wrong sivume. Sengathi ithi impela yiyo ke le. Kwahlangana abantu basephesheya belungu. Bathatha isinqumo ukuthi bazozala bazosicindezela. Bagibela ikebhe bezala bafike basicindezela. Bathatha umhlaba wethu. Bathatha umnotho wethu ngaphansi komhlaba. Bathe mase bewuthathile base beye emaparlament abo. Base beshaya umthetho. Ukuthi sekokwabo ke lo. Lokuthi inkampani izona ezizofika zizomba nje zithathe zihambe. Hayi ukuthi kwadalwa lokho uNkulunkulu. Bashaya umthetho. Sehlulwa yini ngiyababuza ukuthi sehlulwa yini ukuthi kwi-AU sishaya umthetho othi umnotho walapha usezukumbiwa abantu hambe. Ose-Afrika. Umnotho wala uzosetshenzelwa la. Ophuma ngaphandle ufuna ukuthi awuthenge. Simdayisele. Ngoba wethu. Onke labaholi bahleli balungile nje sengathi yadalwa uNkulunkulu lento. Bayamba nje bathatha yonke into lecebile. Bacebe bayafa ngale. Siyahlupheka thina la. Yini singashaya umthetho? We-continent ukuthi nothing goes away. Ozala uzodlula la simnikeza ama-terms ethu ngezinto zethu. Siyezwana? Kodwa uma singabubhene singezwana maye babo bayothatha eyozisala i-Afrika igobongo ingasena lutho. Siyezwana? Sanike nithi niphethe power esandleni nidlale ngayo. Uzumthatha ngisivota nje. Ngeke ngivote mina ngoba ngicasulwe yilokho. Udlala ngepower esezandleni. Siyezwana? Sizoyovota sonke ngithi kulonyaka ozayo. Khona bangavumi ngiyababona. Siyavuma. Siyabonga. Anginibonge nonke bakwethu. Ngikhulunyiswa nje ukujabula ngoba ngibona ukuthi le support asishintshe into a real power. Singahlangani nje ngoba kukhona konakele. Sihlangane ukulungisa lokho konakala kudala. Siyabonga. Ngibongela. Umshene wami, umshene wami, umshene wami, umshene wami, umshene wami we baba. Umshene wami, umshene wami, umshene wami, umshene wami, umshene wami we baba. Hauletu umshene wami, umshene wami, umshene wami, umshene wami. Umshene wami we baba. Umshini wami, umshini wami, umshini wami, umshini wami, umshini wami, umshini wami. Umshini wami, 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 umshini wami we baba. Hauletu umshini wami, umshini wami, umshini wami, umshini wami. Umshene wami we baba. Hauletu umshene wami, umshene wami, umshene wami we baba hayi wena uyangibambezela umshene wami we baba hayi wena musungibambezela umshene wami we baba awulethu umshene wami we baba awulethu umshene wami we baba hayi wena uyangibambezela umshene wami we baba hayi wena musungibambezela umshene wami we baba siyabonga bakwethu. Thank you very much.
Amandla! Long live Ngamalala, long live! Long live Ngamalala, long live! Wazabongani masisha, long live Ngamalala, long live! Makabani, siyafisa ukuthi sibonge siqonde ukuthi ubaba kusenendlela ayithathayo. Siyafisa futhi ukcongratulate isilo samabandla esithena u70 years namhlanje. Siyafisa ukwenza lokho sizomdede umaduna bekuthi useqedile khona ubaba somdedela kahle bekuthi umaduna usela ngoba siyahamba manje ziphe khwa siyedebhe yeah asiyahamba manje ziphe khwa
Ngiyabuzwa manje